Welcome to another episode of Thrive. It's Carly, your host. Guys, we're at number 123, which is just mind-blowing. When I started this podcast, probably 4 years ago now, I did not expect to be sitting here still bringing the goods. I also didn't expect for the podcast to evolve in the way that it has. And I was having this conversation with somebody the other day around like, Carly, what is your podcast about? And it took me a minute to kind of really connect to what has transpired, I suppose, over the last few years. And it's been such an incredible space for me to share, really vulnerably, for me to build like way deeper connections than are possible on places like Instagram or Facebook. And it's just been such a wonderful platform for me to really just share in a really authentic and real way, in a really authentic and real way. If you've listened before, you'll know that I don't edit the poddies. You know that I don't chop bits out. I don't stop and start. I just roll with it. I just speak and I let myself really like just be that channel for what wants to come through me and what wants to be shared. And one of the most exciting things that's happening within the podcast at the moment is I'm having more guests, as you will have heard me spoken about if you've been listening for a while. And today I am so excited to share this episode with you where I spoke to Cailin Tokarczyk, who is an absolutely incredible sales and business coach. And I've been connected with Cailin for a few years now, and I've done a couple of her programs, and she's fierce. I fucking love everything about this woman. And this episode, we talk all about really doing business in your way. We're throwing out the rule book, and this is a huge part of what we both stand for in what we share and what we create. And I really wanted to have the conversation with Cailin as well about sales and the confidence to actually sell, because I know that this is an area that so many people are holding themselves back in. You know, we have these fears around being too much, selling too much. I don't want to piss people off. I don't want to lose followers, right? Whereas when we connect with what selling really is, and Cailin brings up such a good point about understanding that sales is just how we live our lives. Like, we would not be having these conversations on these devices. You wouldn't be listening to this episode through your headphones if it wasn't for sales. So when we can really bring ourselves back to the fact that we're just here solving problems and sharing that with the people who need it, you can have a really powerful perspective shift. So that's a little bit about what we're going to get into in the episode today. We're talking all about confidence and really allowing yourself to claim your fucking space in your industry, in your business, whatever it is that you do, and how to really be able to show up sustainably and do the things in a really aligned way. So let's get into the episode. I know that you guys are going to fucking love this. If you do love it, please make sure that you share it on your stories. Tag both Cailin and myself, Confidence with Carly. And if it feels good, drop in and give us a 5-star rating so that we can get this poddy into the ears of the people who really want and need to hear it. So let's get into the episode. Hey guys, welcome to Thrive. It's Carly and I am here with Cailin Tokarczyk, and I've been so excited to have this beautiful convo with Cailin. And she's a sales and business coach. I've worked with Cailin before and I just freaking love her, and you guys are going to love hearing her. So welcome, Cailin.
Woo! Thank you for having me. So freaking excited to be here.
It's so good. And it's been so long since we've actually had a convo. So I'm so excited to see what unfolds and where we go.
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it. So first of all, let's just start with the basics. And I love this question because it always sounds so basic, but it's never basic, because I love how we can interpret it. But tell us a bit about who you are and what it is that you do. What's the impact that you have in the world?
Right. So my name is Cailin. I am a business and sales coach, as Carly said. And one of the biggest parts of my business, and the biggest thing, and if you know me, you'll know this. If you don't know me, well, you're going to find out right now, is I really help people claim their fucking space in their businesses. I help them step into their power. I help them leverage their natural strengths and just lean into those strengths and really just own who they are as the person outside of business. Own that expertise, whether it's inside of business or outside of business. Lean into their strengths so that their strategies feel natural for them. They feel easy for them to show up and implement. So, well, yes, I'm a business and sales coach, and we do all of the things with the strategy and the foundation of your business and the building of your offers and all of that. We always sprinkle some claim your fucking space energy on it, because that is what makes the biggest difference. That is where you find that sweet spot in your business, where you're not only getting results, but you're feeling good about getting those results. It's feeling natural for you to get those results. It's feeling fun for you to get those results, and you're confident in the results that you're creating because you're creating them in a way that actually makes sense for you. So that's really what my
Mm,
business is all about. That's what I help my clients with, my program members with, my course members with, and that's really like the why behind my brand, is just helping more people, yes, make money within their business, yes, make more sales, yes, build the programs, but claim their fucking space while they're doing all of those things.
mm. Because I mean, and I'm sure you can relate to this, and we'll go into like a bit of where you've been before doing this, but I know when I first started my business and it was like, oh, there's all of these rules and you've got to do it this way. And, oh, you can't launch a group program if you haven't done X, Y, Z yet. And it's like, there's
Mm-hmm.
all these rules. And for me, I resisted that and it just felt so icky.
Yeah.
And so one of the business programs that I did was your 5-figure foundation, which was a few
Yes.
years ago now.
Yes.
And I just found that so empowering to be able to get the guidance and the strategy, but to be able to implement it in my own way.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm, because we're not all the same. We don't have the same values. We don't have the same styles. And I just,
Personalities. We don't have the same
personalities. Yep.
expertise. We don't have the same skills. Like every single
Mm,
person is completely different. And what I'm good at isn't going to be the same thing that you're good at. And my personality isn't going to be the same as your personality. The way that I speak, the way that I deliver a message is going to be different than how you express yourself.
mm,
And we need to look at these things and question these things and figure out, how can I actually leverage the things that make me me, so I can
yeah.
create better results in my business. But again, I feel more natural creating those results. So there's not so much resistance behind doing the things, because we got to do the things. We got to do the things. You got to show up for your
Mm,
business.
mm,
You have to have the offers. You have to sell. You have to market. But the way that you're doing those things can be tweaked and can be curated to who you are and what works for you.
mm. Oh, and I know for me, like I remember again first coming into my business, and I was like, "What do you mean? I have to sell and I have to market, and I just want to be a coach, right?" But
Mm-hmm.
one of the things that I really unlocked when doing your program was that yeah, I get to do it in my own way, and it actually gets to be really enjoyable, and I get to throw the rule book out the window because I mean, look, I don't know about you, but I'm not really one to follow the rules in any area of
Yeah.
my life. So it felt good to just be able to like unlock what was in me, what was
Mm-hmm.
within me. But obviously having that guidance, like we need that person there who can provide us with the framework, I guess,
Yeah.
as such, and then give you like you have that freedom to go and make it your own. So that's one of the things that I hugely love about what you do. So can you tell us a little bit about like what's your story before you started your own business? Like what did you do before?
Yes, well, I'll try to keep this as short and sweet as possible. So basically, we'll take it back to like when I was 16. My mom opened her own business, which was really more of like a family business. It was a storefront. So I'm in high
Mhm.
school, and my first job ever was working for my mom as a retail assistant, as a sales assistant, sales associate in
Yeah.
the store selling the products, right? And so my mom has this new business, and I'm trying to figure out ways for us to get more customers, for us to make more money. I felt like it was my business. I was taking ownership of it. So if it was my thing, it's going to be fucking successful. We're going to be good at this thing, right? So I'm like, all right, how are we going to get people in the door? How are we going to make more sales? How are we going to get our brand out there?
Mm.
And the business that we ran was actually a cheerleading retail store. So it's becoming a lot more popular in Australia, but in America, cheerleading is so popular. And I'm not just talking sideline cheerleading, cheering for the football players, all of that very cliche portrayed in the American movies, One Tree Hill type of stuff. I'm not just talking about that. I'm talking hardcore competitive all-star cheerleading and other forms of competitive cheerleading where these cheerleaders are dedicating hours and hours of their life every single week to perfecting their craft, getting better at cheerleading, getting better at the tumbling, the stunts. Like there's so much. It's such an intense sport and it takes a lot of time. But it's also a very profitable industry and an industry that people invest a lot of money in, whether that's uniforms or sports bras, accessories, shoes, like all of these different things, right? So that's who we were marketing to and the product that we were selling. Here I am, 16 years old. And this was actually the year that Instagram came out. The year Instagram came out is when I was 16, right? So it's this brand new thing. No one knew who it was. Facebook was still only really popular for a couple of years. Twitter was like a popular thing too. Instagram was like the brand new thing. I'm like, how can we get ourselves out there and not just get sales in the store, but take advantage of our online store? And I put together an entire influencer marketing campaign before, like influencers weren't even a thing back then. And I created an Instagram marketing campaign, a Facebook marketing campaign, a Twitter marketing campaign, where we would send product to these really popular cheerleaders, which in the industry is called like a cheerlebrity. They're like the best at the sport.
Yes, I
it's
love
like,
that.
think of like the best NFL players, like cheerleaders have people like that they look up to, who win the world championships every year. They're so good at what they do. They're the best tumblers. They're the best at stunting, and people really admire them. And they create huge followings through that. We've seen that reflected even to this day in that Netflix docuseries Cheer, which was extremely successful and extremely popular. Like those people in there, Gabby Butler, when I was 16, she was super popular back then in cheerleading. She's one of the main people on that show. So there's just like the huge industry for cheerleading. We started leveraging these people as almost like influencers, sending them our product, getting them to post about our product, the same as influencer campaigns are built these days. And then that would direct traffic to our websites. And we just got an insane amount of sales from it. I'll never forget this one day. I was working in the store with my mom, which was awesome that we were both there together. And this Irish, so we were in Orlando, Florida. This Irish family came in. They said, we just drove 45 minutes from Disney World, because that's right by where we lived, because we flew to Orlando for a family vacation. And the only thing our daughter wanted to do was come to your store. And I was like, holy shit, like I created that. So from then it was just like game over. I was like, I want to run a business and I want to be in marketing. Like I knew that from 16 years old. I never had any doubt, any question about what I was going to do. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. When I went into university, I wanted to go for an entrepreneurship degree, but it was a much harder major to get into. They only selected like 50 people a year. So, and I went to one of the top 50 business schools in the United States, Florida State University, go Noles. And so it was very competitive to get into that program. So I went for a marketing degree. So I have my marketing degree, graduated with my marketing degree. After university, I was like, oh my God, I am not prepared for the real world. I lived in Europe, traveled Europe, backpacked through Europe, lived in Spain with my best friend. We did that until we depleted our bank accounts. And then we're like, oh shit, I think we should probably move back home. I think it's time to get a job. We don't really have an option. Yeah. And so when we were getting ready to move back home, I'm online applying for a bunch of marketing, social media marketing jobs with like really, Fortune 500 companies, things like that. I have a marketing degree. I'm only like 6 years removed from my university. I had internship experience working with Fortune 500 companies, and I couldn't get a fucking job. No one wanted to hire. I couldn't even get in the door. I couldn't even get an interview. And so finally I was like, okay, what's my fallback going to be? What else would I want to do with my life? Well, I'm really good at sales. I'm interested in sales. I have worked in sales. I took university classes around sales. My dad is in sales, and it's always just come really natural for me. Why don't I start looking for sales jobs, which is how I started my corporate sales career. Got into that, fucking smashed it, broke like all of the records in my office, was speaking at our international meetings in front of thousands of people. I was sales coaching for the company. So new hires, they would all
Mm,
get coached by me. I was training people who had been there years prior to me on how to sell, because again, it was something that did come natural to me, something that I was good at, and something that I had a really deep understanding of. Like, this is why sales works. And I
yeah.
just had a really strong grasp on like the relationship building aspect of sales, how to build relationships quickly and make people trust
Mm,
you quickly, so then they buy quickly, right?
mm-hmm.
And so I was doing that and I freaking loved it. I learned so much about sales in that career.
Mm,
However, as that career came to a close, I is when I met my husband, my now husband, and we were dating long distance. And I was trying to get the company to transfer me from the office I was in to an office in Australia. And even though I was fucking killing it for them, making them tons of money, they just wouldn't do it. They didn't trust me.
really?
They said our relationship wasn't going to work. I was told
Oh,
I was an immature, naive little girl. And I'll
stop.
never forget that. And I was just like so
Oh,
defeated. I was sitting there questioning myself, like, is this the right thing to do? And I was like, you know what?
mm,
Fuck that. I had a conversation with my dad. I was in the car, just left my office. I was driving to my mom's house for dinner. And I called my dad because he's in a sales background. And I also felt like I didn't want to quit my job because I didn't want to let my parents down. And I knew how proud my dad was of me for killing it in sales. And I
yeah.
remember calling him and just venting to him and saying, Dad, like, I don't know what to do. And he said, kiddo, they don't give a fuck about you. He said, the
Mm-hmm.
second you leave, they're going to replace you. You can't revolve your life around these people. You need to do what you want to do. And I was like,
Fuck
done.
yeah.
I was like, done.
Oh,
I literally called my boss that weekend. I was like, we need to meet up for coffee. And I was like, I'm not coming in on Monday, because they spent months trying to convince me to keep working for them and keep working for them. And it was just going around
wow.
in circles. I knew I just had to draw that firm line in the sand. I'm not coming in. This is it. This is done.
Mm.
I sold everything, broke my lease, packed up 2 suitcases, and I moved to Australia on a one-way ticket. Got into a couple horrible sales jobs when I got here, which is an even longer story. It has to do with visas. Anyone who has ever dealt with visas knows the
Oh,
pain. You can only get certain jobs here on the visas that you're on, yada, yada, yada. I'm working
mm,
these other sales jobs for people who are less qualified than me. And I'm so bored with it. I'm so over it. So finally, I was like, I got to take control of my own life. And that's how I started my business.
oh my God. Oh, like, thank God for that, for starters. But like that advice that your dad gave you, like, they don't
Yeah.
care about you. You've got to
No.
live your fucking life, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
and oh, this is another thing. I see so many people in these jobs and they are literally working themselves to the bone.
Which is what I was doing.
Yeah, right. And then you leave, you're out the door, and they're like, okay, what's like, who's next?
Exactly. And
That's
you never hear from
yeah,
them again. You never speak to them again. And
yeah,
it's just, they don't, yeah, they're on to the next one. They don't care.
yeah,
Like, if you were to, this is morbid, but if you were to die tomorrow, they're going to just fill your position. Like, that's just what
100%.
happens. They move
Yeah.
on because they have to. Like, you're at the end of the day, especially in a sales role, you're
Mm,
another number. You're just
yep.
another number to them, another
And you're
person to make
replaceable.
that company more
Yeah,
money, another person who is just there to hit a quota, and
yeah.
that's it. You're just filling, yeah, you're just filling that position, filling that role. So that
Mm,
advice, it I think I would have done what I wanted to do anyway, because that's
yeah.
just the person that I am. But that really just gave me the push that I needed, and also like the confidence and the permission that I needed in that moment to feel good about the decision that I was making. And
Mm,
I never questioned it. Once I decided, it was game over for me. I never went back and forth. Am I doing the right thing? I never
mhm.
questioned if me and my husband were going to work out. Like, I was just like, we're doing it. Let's go. That's it.
Yeah, you backed yourself and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you obviously had the confidence to be able to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about. I'd love to talk about like sales and selling, right? Because this is such a huge part of your background. And one of the things I would love to talk about is how there is this kind of stigma or this, this vibe around selling and, oh, it's not, aligned with me. And there's so many women in particular who are holding themselves back because they have this fear of selling. Can we sort of
Mm-hmm.
talk a little bit about that? Like, what is it that holds, or from your perspective, what is it that you think holds people back from really sharing what it is that they do and letting the world see their magic and letting the world buy their magic?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many layers to this. Like,
Mm,
if we look at sales and selling, this is a male dominated industry. This is
yeah.
only somewhat recently becoming normal for us to even see women in sales roles and in sales
Mm,
positions. We go back to what, the 40s, 50s, 60s, and the women were at home and the
yeah.
men were knocking on their doors selling air conditioning units, or the men are
Mm-hmm.
selling cars in a car yard. And people still have that connotation with sales to this day. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's very aggressive. Sales is
Yeah.
very forceful. It's very masculine. It's very male dominated. It's sleazy. It's manipulative. It's all of these negative things.
Mm,
Sales is how we live our life.
mm-hmm.
We wouldn't be speaking if it wasn't for sales, because what we're talking on laptops that we bought, using internet that we bought, headphones,
Mm,
like literally every single thing around you, anything that you can look at in your room right now, someone sold it to you somehow, whether they sold it to you directly or they sold it to you indirectly. And I think
yeah.
understanding that and accepting that is kind of like step one, is like, sales is how we live our lives. People
So
selling us
true.
something and us purchasing something is how we live our lives. That is the society that we live in. And you just got to fucking accept that first. Like, we
Yeah.
cannot live. I can't drive anywhere. I can't get on a plane to see my family if it weren't for sales. And look at it
Yeah.
that way. Look at it like sales is something that benefits me. Me selling is
Yeah.
something that benefits other people. People selling to me is something that benefits me. And just look at it from that perspective to begin
Mm,
with. Accept the fact that sales is always going to be around us. So, how can I leverage sales? How can I sell people something that is going to make their life better, or something that is going to solve a problem for them in some way? Accepting that is
mm,
always going to be step one. One
mm,
of the biggest reasons why people struggle so much with sales is because they're too attached to the actual outcome of selling, and they place too much worth and meaning of who they are, or how valuable their program is, or how they
mm.
feel about themselves. They attach that to whether or not people are going to buy. And sales is not something that you can take personally, because if you're taking sales personally and you're afraid of that rejection, and you're afraid of people telling you no, and when they do tell you no, you make it mean something more than it's literally just them telling you no, sales is always going to feel like something that you're battling. It's always going to feel
Yeah.
defeating. It's always going to feel depleting, draining so much. You cannot attach your worth to how much people pay you. You can't attach your worth to whether or not people buy. You have to reconnect to your conviction for the work you do. And you kind of have to show up in the energy as, I have this incredible offer. Here's how it's going to benefit you. Here's what problems it's going to solve and the result that it's going to
Mm,
create for you. Here's the price point. You're fucking welcome that I created this program for you. Move on.
yeah. That's the vibe.
And that's the vibe. And you're presenting it to people in that way. Another reason why sales is so difficult for people is because they overcomplicate selling, and they actually don't really understand what sales is in the first
Mm,
place. A lot of
mm-hmm.
people running their online businesses, unfortunately, they don't understand the difference between marketing and sales, and they don't understand the difference between actual sales skills and just tactics that people use online. Posting on your Instagram story is not a sales skill. Knowing how to articulate your offer is a sales skill. Pitching
Mm-hmm.
people, like reaching out to people in the DMs, is not a sales skill. Knowing how to lead a sales conversation is a sales skill. So what people focus on too much is really all of these like external shiny objects, fancy things that so many people have just kind of thrown online and try to make it sound like it's sales, when
Yeah.
really they're not focusing on that foundation, that skills, that knowledge, the understanding of what sales actually is and how sales work, aka why people buy. You tap
Mm,
into that and you tap into the skills and the actual understanding, then everything's going to make sense for you, and you're going to be a lot more effective in your sales strategy, because then you know whether or not you're doing the right things to move people forward on this buyer's journey that they're on.
Yeah. And I love what you said there about, all of it. And like knowing the difference between marketing and sales. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like for someone who doesn't know, maybe they're new in their business, what is the
Mm-hmm.
difference between marketing and selling?
So the simplest, most basic way that I can put it, marketing is connecting people to your brand, whether
Mm,
that's to you or your message or your values or your product. It's connecting people to your brand. Sales is how you solve their problem. That's
yeah.
it. So marketing is all of the content, it's the emails, it's the nurturing. In my opinion, marketing is the more difficult of the two, right? Sales
Yeah.
is literally just being like, here's your problem, here's how I solve it, here's the price point. And it's as simple as that. Sales is
Yeah.
so simple. And if right now
Mm-hmm.
sales feels complicated, that means something needs to change with your strategy. That means you
Mm,
need to develop a stronger understanding of what sales actually is, because when you know what it is, you know that it's simple. You know that it's a short process and a simple process to follow. And then that's all you need to focus on. But what happens so much is these people, most people, I would say, feel like they need to do an entire song and dance to sell their offers every single day. You feel like you
mm,
can't sell your offer unless you tell a story first. You feel that's marketing. You feel like you can't
yeah.
sell your offer until you do a mini training first. That's not sales. The mini training is the marketing side of things. So you're looking at marketing and sales, but thinking it's just sales. That's why it feels so difficult. When you
Mm,
understand that the two things are separate, it doesn't feel so overwhelming, because you can then understand what needs to come into play and when. Is now the right time and the right space for the marketing, or is now the right time and the right space for the selling? We need both. Don't get me wrong. They have to
mm.
coexist and complement each other, but they're not the same thing. And when sales feels so overwhelming and it feels draining and it feels daunting, it's often because those lines are getting blurred and you're confusing it for something that it's not.
So true. And I think when, like, I know a lot of women who have come to me feeling like I can't sell, it's because they haven't been connected with how they actually solve a problem, or they haven't been
Mm-hmm.
connected with what the problem is. They're just trying to sell their coaching,
Yeah.
right? Because they've got a qualification now and they know they can do some good, but they haven't actually like taken the time to dive into who their ideal client perhaps is and what their
Mm-hmm.
problems are, and then how they can be the one to actually solve it and to demonstrate
Yes.
that. And I
Yeah.
think that, yeah, when we reconnect to that, like I'm just solving a problem here.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you that if you've got this problem, I can solve it.
Yeah. And
Mm.
speaking to the people who have problems that they want solved, instead of
Yes.
feeling like you need to market to someone and do the entire process where you're pointing out the problem and then you're convincing them that they have this problem, and then you're convincing them what they need to do to change that problem, and then you're convincing them to take action on that problem. And that for
Mm.
you right now, you feel like that has to be your sales process. No fucking wonder you're exhausted. No fucking
Mm-hmm.
wonder it feels so hard. No fucking wonder you're avoiding doing it every day, because it's a lot and it feels like too much. And you're sitting there wondering, why does it feel so difficult for me, but so seamless for other people? Well, that's why right there, because again, you're misconstruing what sales actually is.
Yeah. So we just need to simplify it, right?
Always. Like that, like
Yeah.
99% of the time, that is the answer. It's not even
Mm,
adding more. It's not a brand new strategy. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes those things do need to come into play, but majority of the time, it's refining the things that you're already doing, tweaking
mm,
them just to make them better, to improve them, not
yeah.
not constantly creating something brand new and a brand new strategy and a brand new message and over again. You're burning everything to the ground constantly to build it back up. That's going to feel exhausting. And you're also going to keep putting yourself behind when you're not allowing yourself to ever really create anything, to build anything, because you're constantly starting over. You're constantly burning it all to the ground. And again,
Mm.
no wonder why it's exhausting when you're doing that.
Oh, fuck yes. Absolutely. And so, Cailin, like you just absolutely exude confidence in everything that you do. Like you, to me, like I watch you and I'm like, fucking, she's got the most unshakable confidence that I've ever seen. How did you cultivate that? Or, can you distill it down to anything that you've done or any experiences? Or is it just who you are?
As like annoying as this sounds, it is who I am. And this is the thing, like for everyone, that's not the case. And that's
Yeah.
okay. That doesn't mean you're not going to be successful at business. For me, confidence comes natural, leadership comes natural, selling comes natural for me, which is why my
Mm,
career has literally been built around these things because it's what I'm good at and I just have an understanding of it, right? That's not the case for everyone, but that doesn't mean that you can't be successful at leadership. That doesn't mean that you
mhm,
can't be a confident person. That doesn't mean that you can't get good at sales, but it is going to look different for you than it looks for me. Now, just because I exude confidence, that doesn't mean that I'm confident 24/7. I
mhm.
I do believe that I've always had a very like leadership personality. You
Yeah.
can ask my husband or my mom or my dad, and they'll be like, Cailin is a very bossy person. Like she will command the room and you're gonna do what she tells you to do. Like that is just who I am as a person, and I've
Yeah.
been that way since I was a kid. But
Mhm,
that doesn't always mean that I was the most confident person all the time, even though on the outside it may look that way. And I
mm,
have, been able to, especially like in high school, put up a front that I am confident all the time. No one's
mhm.
confident all the time. The people who you look at,
Yeah.
who you think are the most confident, they're still dealing with shit behind the
Mm,
scenes. But the thing about me is that I won't let that stop me. I won't
yeah.
let the fact that I don't feel 100% confident stop me from moving across the world. I won't let it stop me from starting the business. I won't let it stop me from showing up. I won't let it stop me from creating the new offer, from launching that offer, from pitching the client on the $20,000 package, like whatever it is. Just because I have a little bit of fear and doubt doesn't cause me to resist things. And this is
Mm.
where people fuck up is they want it to be perfect so bad. They want all the validation to be
Mhm.
there so badly. They want to feel 100% confident. They want to feel 100% at their best. They want to feel like they have absolutely no doubts, and then they'll do the thing. And that's just
Yeah.
simply not realistic because you're a human being and your
Yeah.
life has shaped you to be a certain way. And the situations you've been in have shaped you to be a certain way. And the person you are that person for a reason. And so you're going to have different feelings, especially as an online business owner, especially as someone who has a personal brand. And it's like, my business is my name. Like my business
Mhm.
doesn't have a name. It's my name. Cailin Tokarczyk is my business. I am the business. Like, you're not going to feel confident 24/7 putting yourself out there. You're going to face
Yeah.
rejection. You're going to
Mhm.
face some haters. You're going to face people who disagree with you. But you have to be so convicted in your work, so confident in the value that you're delivering to people and the transformation you're providing. And you have to have such deep connection to your why that you're willing to do those things anyway, even when the
Mm.
validation's not there. When I
Mhm.
first started my business, when I first started coaching, I didn't start my business with this following. I didn't start my business making 10K months. I didn't start with hundreds of people inside of my programs. I started the same spot that everyone else starts with. I started with absolutely nothing, but you got to
Yeah.
build even when it's not there yet. And you got to trust that you're doing the right things and you're paving your way and you're creating all of those other external things. Yes, the validation, the recognition, all of that, the sales that can come later, but you can't be showing up for those reasons. You have to be
Mhm.
showing up because you have such deep belief in your work, such connection and conviction for your work that you decide that you're going to show up no matter what. This is the
Yeah.
reason why the coaching industry, not even just the coaching industry, but the online entrepreneurial industry,
Mhm.
it weeds people the fuck out because it will show you who is committed to this work no matter what. Who is the person who's willing to have that $0 month and you feel
Yeah.
like an absolute bag of shit and you've never doubted yourself more, but you push that to the side and you keep going anyways because that big month is going to be on the other side of it. But so many people, it's like that graphic, right? Where that guy has like that
Yes.
axe thing that he's digging at, and there's like a diamond on one side, and the
Mhm.
one guy just gives up and leaves, and the other guy gets this huge diamond. I feel like most people know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about. That's exactly what it is, but so many people aren't willing to see through those hard moments to
Mm-hmm.
create those high moments. But the people who are and the people who stay convicted, no matter what, those are the people who build long-term success and long-term wealth for themselves, because they're not relying on the confidence to show up.
Yeah.
They're going to show up anyway, even when the confidence isn't there, because practice builds confidence. That's what it comes from. Developing skills builds confidence. That's why I'm so confident in selling, because I could sell, if someone spun me around, put me in a blindfold and made me do cartwheels down the road, I could give you a sales pitch at the same time. I could do it in my sleep. Like, it's nothing now, but I had to build to get to that. It's the years of practice, the years of learning, investment, refinement, showing up over and over and over again, even when the results weren't there. When the results weren't there, not taking my foot off the gas and leveraging those results and refining what I was doing to get even stronger results. It's the constant work that's going to build confidence. You're never going to get to the point where you exude confidence and you feel confident all of the time if you're not willing to work towards that, to create that for yourself. When you have those skills, when you know what the fuck you're doing, and when you believe in your work and you have some of that claim your fucking space energy, like, yes, I'm fucking excellent at what I do. How can I not get my message out there? When you have that in place, that's where the confidence is going to come from.
Absolutely. Oh my God, you like just hit home so many amazing points there. Like, this whole waiting to feel confident and then I'll do the thing is something that I hear of a lot of people say, you know, I'm just going to wait until I feel a little bit better, till I feel a little bit comfortable, and then I'm going to go and do the thing. It's not how it works. We go and do the thing, and maybe we fuck it up. We go and do the thing, and we
but
learn
then
some
you
lessons.
learn from it.
Exactly.
And then you're better
right?
next time.
Yeah. And I
Like,
feel
if
like
I
that's
didn't have my first shitty launch where you want to talk about not having confidence, like, I couldn't have been less confident. I was like crying in my husband's arms with my boyfriend at the time, like, what is wrong with me? No one wants to buy from me. I'm the worst. Da, 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 da. And then it's like, get the fuck over yourself, move on, learn from this, and use it to your advantage so you can be better next time. And then when you have that failed experience under your belt and you've taken knowledge and skills away from it, then you can actually be more confident moving forward, because experience is going to build confidence. Now you can make educated moves in your business, because it didn't work, but now you know what doesn't work. And so you can then integrate things that will work. You can tweak what doesn't work and try again. And you keep trying until you get it right. And then when you get it right, you keep trying anyways to make it even better. That's how you scale a business. That's how you hit an income goal. And then once you hit it, that's how you scale that income.
Fuck yes. I mean, failure is only feedback, right? Unless we choose to look at it as a failure and we just stop, right?
Yeah.
If we choose to look at it as though it's feedback, we learn and we grow from it. We do it again. We might fail again, and then we just keep going, right? I absolutely love that. And the other thing, what was the other thing I was going to say? Something else that you said that was really amazing, and I have lost it, but there were so many amazing points there.
That's okay. It'll come back to you in like an hour.
Yeah, I know. Later on I'll be like texting you, going, oh, this is the question.
I'll voice note you the answer, and then you can crop it in.
Could you imagine? I can't remember the last time I edited a podcast, so that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
We'll just throw the clip on at the end, like, hey guys, by the way, we just have one more thing for you.
I love that so much. That is so something that I would do. Tell us about claiming your fucking space. How does somebody who's maybe fairly new in their business, or they've been in their business for a little while, but they're kind of teetering on the edge, they're watering themselves down a little bit, how do they claim their fucking space?
Yeah, well, first, you gotta remember who the fuck you are, and not just by like sitting there and saying, looking in the mirror and put your hands on your hips and be like, yeah, I'm a badass. Like, if you're struggling right now to feel confident in your business, you're struggling to feel like an actual leader within your business, sit down and literally list out everything that you've ever accomplished in your life. All of the qualifications, the degrees, not even that, the experiences, the things that you overcame, the knowledge that you gained, literally anything like that. Like, sit there and just list out everything. Sit down and focus on, what am I just naturally good at? Like I said, I'm a natural leader. So in my
Mm-hmm.
content, you're going to see that shine through. That's why a lot of my clients come to work with me, because they want to tap into that leadership aspect of their business. But for you, it might be something different. I am such a bold, loud person, but I have some clients who they're very soft. They have
Yeah.
like such a nurturing spirit that makes you feel like safe with them. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, let's lean into that. Let's make sure that your content is showcasing that. Let's make sure that your sales strategy, it's not like a very bold forward strategy. It's going to be more lean back and more like a nurturing strategy, because that's how you
Yeah.
start to claim your fucking space, is by leaning into your strengths. But you can't lean into your strengths until you identify what are those strengths for you, and you're operating in your zone of genius within your business. Because to be quite frank, there's so many people running businesses, like they don't even feel like an expert on the topics that they're speaking about or in the work that they're doing. No wonder there's a disconnect when they're selling. No wonder
Yeah.
they resent their clients. No wonder they don't have fun showing up for those offers. But you can change that. Like when I first started my business, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I did what I thought I was supposed to do, and I became a social media manager. That's how I started my
Mm,
business. I
yeah.
had no business being a social media manager. I am the most disorganized person. Like, I am. I will fully admit that I'm disorganized. I'm a procrastinator. Like, I don't work well with other people. Like, I can give myself a deadline and put my back against the wall, but like other people giving me a deadline, not only that, but like other people telling me what to do and I'm having to like answer to them. Like, I fucking hated that shit. And
Yeah,
I
we get along
needed
so well.
to
We're so similar. I'm
and
like,
I needed to realize that, like, I needed
yeah.
to understand, like, oh my God, I actually hate what I'm doing, and then
Mm,
change it so I could step into my power. How can I be more of a leader within my business?
yeah.
How can I go back into my area of expertise? Yes, I consider myself an expert at online marketing, but I don't want to implement it for people. I want to teach them the skills behind marketing for themselves, so then they can integrate and implement for themselves. And then I had to curate
Yeah.
my business around that. Ever since
Mm-hmm.
I did that, business felt so much better for me. But it takes you
Yeah.
taking that step back and understanding yourself again and
Mm-hmm.
reconnecting to your natural strengths, looking at your personality, leveraging your personality in your business. If you look at your content right now, and you look at your offer messaging, and you look at your sales pages, and you go ahead and you read that, and I want you to read it out loud. Does it sound like you? Does it sound like, because we're running so like businesses on social media, it doesn't need to be so curated,
Oh,
polished.
yeah.
There's up to a certain standard that someone else has placed on you. Like, when you're reading it out loud, does it sound like you? Does it sound like how you would actually have a conversation with people? When I write my
Mm-hmm.
content, I know that I'm using improper grammar, and it's like, I know that it's putting my AP Lang teacher, like sending her for, I don't even know. She's going nuts reading this stuff. She's like, oh my God, this is not what I taught you.
I
But
taught her nothing.
I'm typing the way that I speak, because
Yeah.
even when people read, even without them hearing my voice, I want that personality, that personification of my brand to come across, so they can feel it. So it's really just
Yeah.
tapping into, who are you as the person, leaning into
Mm-hmm.
your natural strengths and your personality, and curating everything you do in your business around that, your content, your offers, your messaging, and your strategies. Like, there are
Yeah.
foundations that we have to have in our business. We have to have the sales strategy, the marketing strategy, the launch strategy. We have to have the
Mm-hmm.
product suite, the customer journey, and the offers. But once we have those things, we can take them and we can personalize them to ourselves, because just like I said in the beginning of this podcast, that's when you're going to see the best results, but also when it's going to feel the best for you, meaning
Yes.
that in the long run you're going to be able to show up and keep doing those things and keep doing those things and keep doing those things, because you're not battling against yourself every day, fighting that resistance in order to post the content, fighting that resistance in order to put your offer out there, fighting that resistance in order to sell your program. If business feels like that for you right now, that's a red flag, and something needs to change. You need to tap into claiming your fucking space so things can feel natural for you. So you
Mm-hmm.
take ownership and you feel like you're in your power inside of your business. Because this is the thing. There's so many people out there who, one, they don't take ownership over their business and their results. I don't care if I invested in any program. If I have a bad month in my business, it's because I had a bad month in my business. I will never
Yes.
give my power away. My life, my results that I'm creating, I would never put that on someone else, because then what does that mean? That I can't do anything about it, right? I have no
Exactly.
ownership over my own results. Like, that is on me at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day. So that's a huge part of it, actually taking ownership over the things going on in your business. You made a bad investment, babe, that's on you that you made a
Yep.
bad investment. Learn from it, move on, be smarter about it moving forward, take something away from it. I promise you, it's not the end of the world. Things are
Yep.
never going to pan out exactly as we want them to. There's going to be missteps and mishaps along the way. But the quicker you can realize these things, learn from them, and move forward, the more successful you're going to be in business, instead of 1 year ago you invested in a coach and it didn't go well for you, and now you told yourself you're never going to invest in a coach again, but you have no idea what the fuck you're doing in your business, so good luck. You know what I mean? Like, that's not going
Yeah.
to get you anywhere. And then in another year's time you're going to realize this, and then you're going to do something about it. Now we're 2 years down the line, when really you could have been able to adjust that in less than 2 weeks time and moved forward from there. So the quicker that you
Mm,
can identify these things, learn from these things, and then change these things to move in a more aligned, better direction, the more successful you're going to be in business. Now, the other
mm,
side of it, outside of that ownership over your business and your results, is the leadership that you feel within your business. When you're showing up and you're selling the offer someone told you to sell at the price point they told you to sell it at, and you're using the messaging they told you to use, and you're implementing the
mm.
strategy they told you to implement, and you're creating the content that they said Monday post this and yada yada yada, so on and so forth, you don't feel in control of your business, and you don't feel like the leader of your business. You feel like someone
Mm,
else has made every decision for you inside of your business. You're delegating your leadership to someone else,
mhm.
which means anytime you want to change something within your business or move forward in your business, you feel like you need to run it by someone else, because you don't trust yourself, because you've given your power away. You've delegated that self-leadership instead of taking ownership over that self-leadership within your business. Your business
Mm.
should feel like your business, because it was created for you and by you. Yeah, I'm a coach, and I help my clients, and I'll be like, hey, if they need to know how to do something, I'll tell them how to do it. But we're co-creating, and we're
Yes.
doing things together. And I'm never just saying, here's what you need to say. I'm pulling the ideas out of them and the verbiage out of them. I'm helping them craft it in a way that sells, because that's my expertise. But at the end of the day, they should know their ideal client better than I know them. So I can't tell them exactly what to say, because this is not my job. It's not my niche. I don't
Yeah.
fucking know. You have to tell me. So yeah, it's about pulling it out of them, but it's co-creating together. Same thing with the strategy, same thing with an offer. Yeah, I'm helping you do it, but we're doing it together, so you always feel in control of your business, so that after our coaching container ends, you feel like you have the self-sufficiency to move forward on your own and not need to
Yes.
check in with me and get permission on anything that you're doing in your business. And that's what claiming your fucking space looks like: having leadership and ownership over every single area of your business, so you feel like you're in control of your results and your fucking life.
Fuck yes. Radical responsibility is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I love what you said then as well about it's like you're co-creating, you're not just telling them what to do. It's like you teach a man to fish, right? Rather than
Yeah.
giving him the fish. Because
Yeah.
what we want as coaches is for our people to be able to go away and be able to live their lives and do their business
Mm-hmm.
in an independent way, I suppose. We don't want them to have to be feeling like they need to be attached to us or to a coach
Yeah.
at all
Yeah,
times, right?
absolutely. Because that attachment is unhealthy.
It's so unhealthy. And, there was a time when, again, when I first started, I was like, oh my God, I've always got to be working with somebody. I've always
Mm-hmm.
got to have a coach. And then I lost this sense of who I was and what it was that I
Yeah.
wanted, because
Yeah.
I didn't know what my own voice sounded like.
Yeah, exactly. And
Mm,
that's so common. And I've had
it
so
is, isn't
many
it?
clients who come to me with that same problem, and then it can end up, you feel hesitant even trusting
Yeah.
someone else, because you still
Hmm.
don't fully trust yourself, and you feel like
Yes.
you don't understand your direction anymore and what you're looking for anymore, and that can be a hard position to be in. And I totally
Yeah.
get that, and I totally validate that. And whether you want to work with a coach forever or not is completely up to you. Like, it's not a bad thing to work with someone forever, but it is a bad thing if you continue working with that person because you don't trust yourself and you're reliant on that person. You're
Yeah.
reliant on their permission and them constantly telling you what to do, rather than you're continuing to work with them because you want them in your corner. And it's as simple as that.
Absolutely.
You want them in your corner and you trust them and you enjoy working with them, and
Yep.
you're still getting something out of working with them. That's not just permission.
I completely echo everything that you just said then. That was, absolute gold. Cailin, can you tell everybody where they can find you, how they can work with you if they want to know more? And
Yes, absolutely. So the best place to connect with me is on Instagram. My Instagram handle is my name, which I'm sure Carly will put my name on
I
the
will.
episode. It's a long name, guys, so I won't spell it out for you, but it's just at Cailin Tokarczyk, at my first and last name. Absolutely connect with me there. Feel free to send me a DM if you listen to this episode. Let me know what you liked about this episode. For my free program, once you follow me on Instagram, absolutely download my free program, The How. This is a brilliant program. It shows you exactly how myself and multiple clients engineered our first $10,000 cash month in our business, but all with different approaches, all in different niches. And it really emphasizes what it looks like to lean into your strengths in your business. So it's just a brilliant program. I had so much fun creating it. Absolutely make sure you download it. It's completely free. I have my own podcast, the Claim Your Fucking Space podcast, that you can absolutely tune into. We're on Apple and Spotify. In terms of my programs and how we work together, my one-to-one program is currently accepting clients. My mastermind, the Powerhouse Mastermind, will be enrolling shortly. Probably by the time that this episode is out, it will be enrolling. But if you have questions on any other programs, my programs range. They start at $22. DM me on Instagram. We can have a chat. I'll tell you which one makes the most sense for you.
Amazing. Thank you so much. There was so much gold in this. And I'm so grateful to have had you on. This was our second rodeo on the podcast. So thank you so much for coming back on. And I loved this conversation so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Yay.